Okay, so I am super excited to be sharing this. Um, I have built a dashboard that connects to HubSpot, Airtable. Um, it also connects to Fireflies, and it connects to JotForm. Basically, it's all encompassing in what the company uses on a day to day. So the company will be able to come to this dashboard and understand exactly what's going on with everything in their business from a sales perspective for this company. Now, you could apply this same model to a project management tool or anything in your company, essentially social media, all of these things, right? But essentially it brings in everything to one place so that you can see all of your data in one spot and be able to understand exactly what's going on. So what's really cool about this is and this is a demo mode on Lovable for the project, so you're not seeing real numbers, but this gives you an idea of something that is possible to be built. So in here, you're able to switch between the actual sales reps, and it'll switch kind of their numbers. Like I said, this is a demo mode, so the numbers are not changing here, but they would change if you had different sales reps. All of these would be based off of your sales reps' current numbers. And then you can actually go in, and I've created where you can set up goals. So if they have a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly goal that you'd like them to meet, now you can either have the option where they can do their own, put in their own numbers, or you can put in their numbers and you can lock that, and that's what they have to match. In this case, we did keep that open and custom for this particular client. And then you can actually, if you use HubSpot, you know that there's customer contact, there's the company. We created this, which is actually custom, that you can add into HubSpot. If it's a qualified lead, if it's new, attempting, connected, or one, you can actually change. I did inline editing here, so you can change this and it'll go directly back into HubSpot. So whatever you change here, it will sync back into HubSpot and update it there as well. You can change who it's assigned to. You can add their email. Like I said, this is all test data, so this is not real emails or real people or anything like that. So obviously, don't be reaching out to these people because they're not real people. And then in here, your activities and notes, you can add any of your call notes. We also have the call intelligence. So if you had a call with them, all of the information for the summary will show up here. And then we have coaching tips, which we'll get to in a bit. This is the recommended action for what needs to be done next. And then we have where you can go into the leads, right? So the lead may have different information based off of what is available. So let's say you have an Airtable in your project management system. We add this, like I said, this is a sample, but you can bring that in and it could be right here, and you can just have it as a staple, or it could be readable or writable. So you can either make edits inside of the Airtable directly from the dashboard, or you can have it where they just can see it because maybe it's another department working on it, because sales and project management, while they do go hand in hand, you normally have two different people working on that. We have this setup where basically the AI is deciding on a score for how likely that is able to convert. But if you feel like, okay, wait a minute, I've called them a couple times, I think that they're going to purchase soon. Maybe it was a cold lead, but I sent an email. So now we're cooling. Now I've had a conversation with them, they're warming. Or it's a hot lead because you know that they're ready, but they haven't pulled the trigger. But you want to make sure that you go back to talk to that person soon so that you don't lose that sale and they go somewhere else. We have all of the filtering here. So you can filter by just about anything. You can archive leads. So let's say that you have Fireflies conversations that come in that are in between the team itself. You can actually archive the lead so then it doesn't show up on the screen and everybody's not looking at your call logs going back and forth. And that archive is reserved for admin in this case. Obviously, you have the option to do customize that in a way that works for your company. And then there is where we have high value contacts on where we could filter for those. We could filter for returning customers. We can filter for snooze leads. So maybe you put that, you don't want to see that lead up there until next Monday because you don't want to have to worry about it. So you snooze the lead. But hold on, I need to add something because they just called. Let me search the snooze leads because I know that I put them on snooze. Then we have the call intelligence. Call intelligence is for like a Fireflies.ai or some sort of note taker that we have integrated in here where you can see the call summary. And then there's Reclaim. So we utilize Reclaim. You may use something like Calendly or something along those lines. And you can sort through there. And then the project tracker. So anything that shows with the Airtable entries. And you can also search for them here. The other thing is that, so like if you had, we have Reclaim, you may have Calendly or something like that. You can press this here and you can schedule it. We also have the presentation mode. So if you are on a call, like let's say that they're doing a sales presentation and they want to be able to show what's on their screen, it just makes it a little bit larger so it's easier to see for the person that's on the other side of the Zoom call. And then we have metrics, right? So the metric shows day, week, month, or quarter, right? And we can choose different quarters. So we can go back into last year and we can do our forecasting from here, which is really cool. Now, if we could do day, week, do different weeks, things like that, just depended on what it is that you want to look for. You can also sort this by sales rep. And forecast that way as well. And then in here, we have the referral analytics. So let's say you have the direct, like the people who come directly to you, but then you have people that might come through the website or might come through social media or might come from a partner, and you want to be able to track that. You can track that right here. I guess I could scroll through exactly. We show how we show all of that information, and you can also export that too. So you can use this data for forecasting or even just like a team meeting. Maybe you need to present something to your boss, or maybe, you are the boss, but you want your people to be able to share with you in a meeting the information, however that might go. This right here is probably my favorite part. This is something I've been working on recently. This is the sales coach. So we have the ability for you to talk to this almost like in a chat GPT setting. And I could say, what could I do differently? Maybe I want to analyze a call that I had, or maybe I'm on a call right now and I want some insights as to how to answer certain questions, right? This will give me real-time responses. And what it does is you give it parameters for your sales. So I'm sure that there's maybe certain scripting or certain things that you would like people to say, or like what the best call and worst call should look like, things like that. You give the AI the parameters, and then it also pulls from all of the calls that you've done, right? So any call that you have created in the past, or any, like for this case, it would be Fireflies. Maybe you use a different note taker, but whatever note takers you use, it will score all of those calls, and then it takes some of the best calls, some of the intermediate calls, and some of the worst calls. And it analyzes all of that data, and the AI continues to learn from it so that it can give you better outputs and so that you can have better responses throughout the AI. Now, if you have, what's really cool is like you don't have to start from scratch. So if you're already using a note taker, then we can actually use what's inside of your current note taker and have the AI analyze those calls, right? And already start to improve and build upon. So then there's the scorecard analysis. You can either import, so you can actually import directly from the note taking the call that you want to do. And you can download that. You can upload it. You can put in a URL. So let's say somebody sends you the notes because for whatever reason, your note taker didn't work that day. You can paste the notes in here and you can assign a lead and then you can import it in here. Now, I think this is really cool because with this, you can attach it to one of the leads inside of the lead queue. So any of the notes that you put on the scorecard, that's what was kind of being shown previously is, let's see, scorecard. So we can see the scorecard here, right? And this will do a drop down. It gives us the report building, discovery depth, value alignment. This was saved in here from the sales coach. And this way you can keep track of things. Now, all of the sessions are saved. So anything that was put in here, we can save that information. As a admin, you're able to see everybody's sessions in all sessions. And as a regular sales rep, you wouldn't be able to see all sessions, but you are able to share them. So you can put them into the shared section if you want other people to see them, and then it just automatically updates into shared. And then there are your own sessions, the sessions that you had. And so this is the way that you would share that, and then it would go into the shared section. But what I really like about this is it gives you those call insights. So I could press get coaching tips and it'll tell me what do I think, and then I can save it right here, right? And since this is demo mode, it's not showing, but you can do call analysis from here as well. And you can see it's powered by 247 calls and 89 closed out deals. That means that all of those calls have been analyzed and that the AI is actively learning from all of those calls. And like I said, you can talk to it here in real time if you want to import the data, or like let's say you want to pull from Fireflies, you can pull that data from Fireflies and then or paste a transcript in here and actually sit here and talk to the data. But yeah, I think that what's really cool about this, my favorite part about this is just that it gives you real insights that you may not have. It brings all of the business into one place so that you don't have to open multiple applications. It talks to the other place in real time, and it just really simplifies your day-to-day work process.